Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, folks. Whenever you might be listening to our program here, it is Wednesday, July 9th. We are in the thick of NBA free agency. A couple big-name stars are about to sign. They might do so by the end of our program tonight. We will try to keep you updated. But first things first, we've been doing the past couple weeks on today's show, or this show, we've been covering the World Cup and all the happenings in that world. Mainly today, the first thing we're going to touch on is yesterday's Germany game, which was pathetic to say the least.
Pathetic, I think so. I mean, I was the closest to call the game 3-1. I wanted to say like 4-0, but, you know, that was also outlandish in your book, right? You said 2-2, right, Brandon?
No, I said 2-1.
I thought you said it was 2-2, and then I'll go into...
No, that was for the next game.
Are you sure?
We'll
listen to the
because
podcast.
I said it was going to penalty kicks and the Argentina
that is true.
game went to
You did
penalty
say
kicks.
that.
Yeah.
But then Argentina lost. But anyways, back to the Brazil-Germany game, 7-1.
Yeah. What do you think that means? Is that more of an indictment on Brazil, or does that just show how dominating Germany is and is going to continue to be?
That's an indictment on Brazil.
Okay.
I think it shows how strong Germany is when they're fully playing. I've said countless times that Germany's going to come out firing.
I don't think nobody...
And Germany finally came out firing.
But I don't think we doubted Germany. I don't think we ever doubted Germany's skill.
I doubted Brazil.
I think Brazil losing Thiago Silva in the backfield and Neymar on the front field.
They were going to lose.
They were going to lose regardless, right? I'll give you that. I had Germany winning over Brazil anyways, even with the healthy squad. Mm-hmm. But it wouldn't be 7-1 with Germany playing around with the whole entire Brazilian team. They could have scored 10 goals if they wanted to. Did you not see them just passing the ball back and forth? I mean, the backfield in Brazil did not look exciting at all. They just looked like they had a chip on their shoulder and they were not playing with any sort of level of excitement, any sort of level of aggression. I mean, there was one point in the game, I think it was the third goal they scored. Right when they passed the ball back, you just see, I believe it was Muller or Klaus that just comes in, steals the ball, bang, bang, shoot, is another goal, you know? Like, it was shocking to see that you get 5 goals scored on you in 33 minutes.
That was ridiculous.
5-0? I thought it was a joke. I thought, like, I'm sitting there at work.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, on ESPN because I'm trying to figure out how to watch the game online. And, you know, I was like, oh, damn, the game already started. And then you see my phone's blowing up, 2-0. 3-0, 4-0. I was like, all our friends are texting us in the group chat, 5-0. I'm like, are you guys playing FIFA? Because I'm trying to watch the actual game. I don't care if you guys are playing a video game and it's 5-0. Like, are you playing Amen? But, you know, at the end of the day,
listening to it on the radio is even crazier because it was even less emotion than you would normally hear, even though you would think it would be the opposite.
Right.
Because it was like they scored and they would just instantly score again. We're like, they just scored again. It's something I would not be used to in a soccer game. Just not used to seeing that many points scored at all.
Well, you know, going into it, I thought Brazil was lucky to even get past Colombia.
Yeah.
They were lucky to get past that. They didn't show up, and you saw it towards the beginning of the World Cup that it was just they were scoring and then holding on. It wasn't like they came out dominating.
Right.
There was no real dominating performance by Brazil at all this World Cup. You know, the first match against Croatia.
You know,
this final score was 3-1, but it was really 1-1 until the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, when Brazil just happened to somehow get like 3 goals or 2 goals in the last 2 minutes.
They got the lucky penalty there.
Yeah.
Controversial call.
But also, let's take a step back. We were just talking about Argentina on our last show, saying how they haven't really come out with much excitement or, you know, much aggression to play with, yet they're advancing.
Yeah, I mean, you watch that match, which just ended probably about 30 minutes ago.
Right.
There wasn't much aggression
On both sides.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
it came out flat, and I mean,
Netherlands started off when they first came to the World Cup with pure like energy, and they wanted to win, and they were. Watching them play was like, oh my God, this is the team that's going to win it all.
Right.
Because Germany didn't look like that. Even though I predicted Germany to be in the finals from the beginning, before the World Cup even started, Germany came out and they started playing, and you just didn't see it in them. I mean, you saw the first game against Portugal, but then you just made it seem that Portugal had, you know, it just kind of depicted their weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
But Germany the games that proceeded after the Portugal game didn't seem like, okay, I could see Netherlands beating them. But then same thing happened. They just fell off. Like, I have no idea what is in the Brazilian air for them to come out super strong and then just kind of not even level out, but just like go on a steady decline.
They're just exhausted. That game had 19 shots total.
Right.
That's not a lot. I mean, that's between both teams.
Yeah.
19 shots total.
Wow.
Only 4 corners. Not much.
4 total corners?
Yeah. Or no, 8 corners total,
Okay,
but
right,
4
right.
for each side.
Mm-hmm.
Not much in terms of play happening.
Yeah.
It wasn't the exciting games that we've been used to and what we've been getting throughout the World Cup. So
all right.
I'm really upset that
My
that didn't
main
go through.
question out of this, maybe not out of that, but from the Germany game is how happy is Jurgen Klinsmann being a German?
Oh, he was so happy. He tweeted about it. That's how happy
The
he was. He
cupcakes.
got on Twitter. He got on Twitter and talked about how great of a win this was for his country, and he's a proud.
I mean,
German.
7-1.
Yeah.
Not any team in the history of FIFA ever been beaten so bad in like the semifinals of the.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's
Semifinals,
there's
yeah.
never been a loss in the World Cup that Jurassic
Right. In the
ever,
World Cup
in the
ever.
history of the
I know.
World Cup.
6 goals. I mean, that one last goal, the 90th-minute goal by Brazil, was like a pity goal too.
Jurassic
Yeah.
or Chris Bosch, as we're going to call it.
Yeah, never has a goal
Yeah.
been
But-
game
Chris
Chris
Bosh.
Bosh.
Yeah, but I do believe there was a point you wanted to bring up on the show on Monday about Jurgen Klinsmann that you were not able to fit in. If you,
So Jurgen Klinsmann was talking about how there's so much more for the U.S. to work on and improve with, and how he's happy, but at the same time he's
Disappointed?
not disappointed. He's he's exactly where he expected to be.
Okay.
Maybe surpassed a little
Well, then
bit.
he expected more than all of us because we did not expect to go out of the group match.
But he's I think he's surpassed a little. He's surpassed his expectations. But
Okay.
what he's saying is that we need to start working now to get to where we need to be. Because
In 4 years?
in 4 years,
Right.
Because it doesn't, and like he says in his Facebook post, and that's the first time you hear of an exit from the World Cup. The coach putting a post on Facebook,
Right,
explaining
we're in
everything.
that day and age.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Even 4 years ago, social media was not even as prevalent, and 2010 seems like it was pretty
I
recent.
mean, even today, the coaches, you don't really see coaches even ever posting. Jurgen
Yeah.
Klinsmann is just
Right.
hip.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right? He's a German USA coach on Facebook.
And he lives out in
hip.
Cali.
Yeah, he's a hip man.
He's
Come
the
on.
non-reckless version of Johnny Football.
He is super
Media
hip.
prowess.
But what he went on to say was that it doesn't just start at the national level that needs to be improved. You need to work on the U18s,
Yeah.
the U21s, U16s. You got to build from the bottom up. So if we keep just getting after it, I'm positive that we will be making some huge strides in the next coming.
But I mean,
World
that
Cups.
question posed to Jurgen Klinsmann is, how do the MLS players and the U18s and the club players how to balance the schedule? Like, I understand they have off season where they can get together, but now is 4 off seasons going to be enough, or is it going to be a year round thing where, you know what, like, we need a team bonding activity, a team building activity, so kind of like, let's get together.
Well,
and
there's
understand chemistry.
tournaments all throughout. There's tournaments every single year. I mean, it's not just Europe that does that. We have
Right.
CONCACAF coming up. There's a 2015 CONCACAF tournament. The Gold Cup is probably, I think Gold Cup would be in 2017. So there's tournaments. There's tournaments that we will play in. There's friendlies that we will play in.
Mhm.
You know, it's going to be a long 4 years, but there's other things we can get into and that we'll be playing in. So there's going to be a lot of other tournaments. I mean, as you pulled up, Gold Cup,
Yeah.
Confederations Cup.
So how does that affect players that are overseas playing and you know having tournaments over here in the United States of America, and how would that go against the schedules that they have in the Europa League or La Liga or the so on and so forth?
Well, we don't have any,
I mean, isn't Tim Howard playing for Everton?
but
And
we don't know if Tim Howard's going to be back. So
But I think a goalie's lifespan in soccer is much greater than any other player on the field.
completely.
So I can see Tim Howard come back. I mean, yes, his reaction can digress in 4 years, but I'm not counting on that because I think Tim Howard probably has one more World Cup left in him. I mean, we're talking about like Buffon, who's still in the World Cup, and he's played one extra World Cup than Tim Howard has.
Yeah, but this is Buffon's last hurrah.
Right, and I think Tim Howard can have one last hurrah.
Oh yeah, but that's completely up to Tim Howard. I believe Tim Howard can do it. He just came off of having a game with 16 saves. It's
right.
It's highly likely that he can come back, but it's just the fact of does he want to come back? But he can do it, and USA. I think it's going to take time, but we are definitely on the right track.
Well, this might be from an outsider's perspective looking in, but when you guys say that like the U18, U20 or 21, you said
U21,
U18,
U16,
I would be more on the side of saying that that's even looking too soon into the future, and that the generation of kids that's growing up right now, they're just kind of being a little bit more immersed into the soccer or football world, whatever you call the sport. They are gonna see this on TV and how popular it's become in the U.S. It's obviously not the most popular sport, but they're gonna increase their game. They're gonna play more soccer. I would look more into the future of like a decade from now, or like 12 years from now, when they might be even be in more of a prime spot to compete. When these kids have really grown up, where a lot more people on board with the soccer world, and it's not that like sport that's so much in the minority that it's like you just play it when you're in elementary school and then kind of give up on it.
Yeah, but think of it as these kids have been playing soccer probably since they've been 10, 8 or 10, probably even younger than that, but real seriously 8 or 10, and they're getting onto these U18, U21s, U16s, all those teams.
Right.
It's like playing college football. You got 4 years to make that main roster.
Yeah.
You know, you got 4 years to audition to the NFL. So if you want, you can compare it to it like that. I think there's time. I think we can get that.
Yeah.
It's just
what I mean is like if you take a pool of players, if this is how big the pool of players is that's feeding into the World Cup right now for the U.S. team, and we have that good of a team, imagine if the pool of players was even bigger.
Right.
How much more talent might be coming out of that? That's what I'm saying is that maybe a decade down the road, there's more people that are trying to play soccer, and that creates more talent.
But I got one question for you. I mean, you know, before we happen to just a question to pose to the general public and us in itself.
What is that?
Is soccer much more popular now that we made it to, you know, the Sweet 16, or is it gonna just be the same?
I think it's gonna be the same because this is something that it only happens during the World Cup time. Maybe we see when these other tournaments come up, we do a lot better, or there's a lot more attendance. We can't say anything about how popular soccer's become in the U.S. because because like we can see the TV standings, all that, but it's not going to really matter until we see the future and how explosive it is. And speaking of explosion, guys, EP, Explosive Performance, a local business here that caters to people at the Stonebridge Athletic Department and all over the Northern Virginia and Ashburn area. They get you where you need to be in the sporting world and get you ready for the season, trained up. And one of our co-hosts here, Brandon the BG Wooten, is a former client of Explosive Performance. He's got great things to say about him.
Always had great things to say. Like I've always said, EP kicked my butt. And if you want to get faster, bigger, stronger, especially a lot more explosive, definitely go through EP. They will
go through EP.
Tear you up.
Any specific kind of drills or anything you used to do in EP?
Man, they have I cannot think of the name of what it's called, but basically it's a everybody's probably seen this, but this was probably like my freshman, sophomore year of high school, so back in like 2007. So this was like a big deal. But you had those bands, like the elastic bands that you would attach to your hip
to make you dance.
Yes.
To make
yes.
You dance? Okay.
But you would be strapped into this this set, and it's on a ball, so you got to balance yourself, but you're also exploding up, and you're working.
It's like a resistance workout.
It's a resistance workout, except for it's also it's like when you have those yoga balls and it's cut in half. And you can balance yourself on it. It's kind of like that. I can't think of the name for it, but that was ridiculous. So that got me so tired.
What we were saying, back in 2007, they were already being innovative.
Oh,
Who knows what they could be doing nowadays, their innovation.
Right.
Who knows?
I couldn't do it anymore, so
You're good.
I'm good.
So what are you guys' thoughts on the oncoming World Cup final? How do you feel like that's going to play out?
Well, we both picked Germany, Netherlands.
So
with Netherlands winning and our
Yeah, with Netherlands winning,
this
so our
switches
champs
things
are
up.
out.
Yeah. So now that things have changed since Monday, what's the outlook now?
They changed since today. You know?
Okay. I mean, when
But
you
yeah,
made your
clearly,
predictions
clearly.
on Monday, let's. Okay.
Germany all the way. It's
Okay.
they're gonna take it. I mean, my argument still stays the same that Argentina does not have a defense, and it showed what Germany can do to a beaten down defense. And Brazil, I didn't think was that weak without Thiago Silva in the backfield for Germany to plow over Brazil 7-1. Now it could be something else. It could be the excitement level. It could be the chemistry. It could be the fact that they just were not ready to play. But Germany steamrolled Brazil to the point where it exploited the weakness that Thiago Silva left them with the injury that he had on. You know, so Argentina, known to have a bad defense, known to be most of their game is just strictly offense. Germany's going to go to town on that. Germany's attack is so skillful and just and so tactful that defense is going to be torn down to pieces if it already isn't starting the game. You know, I think Germany is going to be a walk in the park for Germany. I think there's no hands down, there's no competition.
Do you have a score on that? What you predict?
I mean, clearly they just went 7-1 against Brazil. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I'm going to go 3-1.
I'm not even gonna
3-1.
Last week Monday, I guess I overreacted and I called him out saying, that was an outlandish statement for the score when he said 3-1. I apologize.
That's right. It happens.
Yeah.
So Germany, you got winning.
Yeah, definitely. I got Germany winning. As for a score, I still can't see it being. I don't see them scoring 3 goals again. I see it being 2-0.
Okay.
I don't think Argentina's going to score. And I know everyone's going to be like, but they've got Messi. He's only one person. Germany has a defense. Argentina does not. Germany has a strong defense out there.
Right.
And you see that every single match.
Yeah.
Argentina doesn't. And granted, you got the best player in the world, but if the best player in the world doesn't affect for your defense, you ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't just keep scoring goals and hold them off and expect to hold them off the whole time with a sorry defense.
I mean, we saw that with Brazil.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, but Germany's defense completely shut down Brazil.
Absolutely.
And Brazil's known for their attack, and I mean, granted they didn't have Neymar, but Neymar wasn't Neymar before the injury. Neymar got hurt at the 88th minute.
Right.
Neymar was not Neymar in the whole match.
You're talking about one game that Neymar had just kind of a bad game. Before that, he was playing on his A game. I mean, you saw in the prior matches before in the group match that Neymar was actually playing up to the level that he should be. And, just it happens to be that the match he got injured in was just a really bad match for him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, given that you're only as good as your last game, in his instance, you're right. Sure, Neymar, if he played like that against Germany, it would not fly, and Germany's defense would be all over it.
Yeah.
As for Argentina against Brazil, Argentina's attack. I mean, you got Higuain, you got Messi. I'm not saying that they can solely do it, but what I'm saying is I don't count them out. I wanted to say 3-0 at first, but I can benefit of that have one goal, right? 3-1. I think Messi can just bang it out from the top left box. So.
And I'll wrap up the FIFA segment with my prediction, a very outlandish one. USA gets back in the game. They win it. USA takes the ship. Please be tuned into our Monday broadcast when we will finally see the victor of the World Cup, and we'll be able to give you our recap on that. And
USA.
Yeah, see how badly, from what our co-hosts here say, Germany might have beat Argentina. Next up, guys, since the start of our show, there have been no updates. Main point all day we've been hearing, Melo is going to re-sign with the Knicks.
Yeah.
Who his teammates are going to be in New York, we're not exactly sure of.
No, we're not.
What does Knicks roster look like?
Let's go to the Knicks expert
yeah,
first.
let's go to our. Could this be BG's corner right now? BG's sad.
Should we level down
sad
BG's
Knickerbocker corner?
Should I get some water, bro?
No. Should we move on to the Cavaliers? Should we just not?
Yeah. So,
okay.
like I had stated way back earlier. I don't remember which show it was.
Oh, we talking about LeBron James right now?
I'm talking about LeBron James.
Oh, we're talking about the Knicks and Melo.
Nope.
Staying.
We're going over
Nope.
the Knicks.
We can go back to the Knicks later.
Can we
on.
get a Kleenex? I think he's.
I don't want to go into basketball and then get too amped up and
okay.
angry and upset and then have to end it on, and have to go on and continue and talk more.
About basketball?
So we can save, Melo till the end. But like I said, LeBron's leaving.
And he's leaving his number behind apparently as well. Oh, it won't be.
Oh, you didn't burn it.
And he's going back home.
You didn't burn it.
I'm not a Cleveland fan.
You didn't burn it.
I was a LeBron fan as a kid.
Oh man.
Cue the I'm coming home.
If you can throw that back up there if you're watching right now on Ustream and not on Podbean, if LeBron's back in Cleveland, you can picture these two numbers flipped because reports are saying that LeBron will be rocking number 32 this upcoming season. That is part of his plan to get everybody in the league to stop wearing number 23. Right. Listen to respectively just give the number up. And sort of a Jackie Robinson type situation where
that's why he went with 6.
Well, that's why he went with 6. Now, I guess going back to Cleveland, I don't know why he wouldn't just wear 6. I think he looks fine in number 6.
Wasn't Shaq 32?
Shaq was 32.
So, that's all
he wore a variety of 30 numbers, 32, 34, and 32 would be Bron's new number. Just another chapter in that book. The most interesting part about that being is that if he does go back to Cleveland, like we talked about on Monday,
I'm coming home.
Yeah, that was the most ridiculous departure in sports we've ever seen. That someone is getting their jerseys burned. They have a decision live on TV to make their announcement. The owner publicly bashes the player.
Can I say something?
No, you are not allowed to say anything on this sports roundtable.
If Melo comes back, I'm burning his jersey. Continue.
Okay. So you can look forward to a jersey burning maybe on our cover3.weebly.com
Right,
site.
but when Melo takes Knicks to the championship, I think he's going to be one of those fans that's wearing a burnt Melo jersey.
I'm going to buy why am I having a blank? I'm buying a Spike Lee jersey.
Hey man, let's take that notch a little down.
I'm pissed off.
You don't want to get a Meta jersey? Doesn't he rock 51?
Meta's not even on the team anymore. He's been gone.
I'll buy you a Lamar Odom jersey.
Oh my god.
You guys.
See, that's why I wanted to save that for later.
All right, man. All right, so LeBron James, Cleveland Cavaliers. It's not official right now.
Yeah, but it seems to be the match made in heaven after the 3-way trade happened today to clear up a significant amount of cap room.
Right.
And it makes sense. They just had the number 1 overall pick. Wins.
Yeah.
They have Kyrie Irving, Uncle Drew himself in the house. And they would have the best player in the world in LeBron James.
But I believe Pat Riley and LeBron had a discussion today at 6 o'clock.
Yes, they had a discussion where Pat Riley was not the one leading that.
They're in Vegas. So
they're in Vegas. Yeah, they're at neutral ground.
That could be 6 o'clock Vegas time.
Yeah,
we're not really sure.
They're in Johnny Manziel City. They are waiting to meet to see what they're going to do. And is that going to be an end-all meeting? Is that if LeBron leaves that meeting without telling Riley he's part of the Heat, is that the end of that marriage? Are they divorced at that point? Is he not going to look at other offers and maybe come back to Pat Riley and say, hey, I want to come back to South Beach?
I think that'll be a big no-no and a big slap to Pat Riley's face if LeBron, takes to neutral zone and be like, look, I'm going to go with this. I'm not even going to hear you out anymore. Because if you think about it, Miami kind of positioned themselves to get Shabazz Napier, and that was LeBron had came out publicly and even tweeted about it, saying that he's his favorite player coming out the draft. Miami solely looked into Shabazz Napier and only made the moves to get him for LeBron to stay. Right?
But everybody else did something just to get LeBron.
Yeah.
So we saw Cleveland just leave.
Yeah,
just get 3 players.
Yeah, completely
disposed of 3 players.
Cleared out over $20 million
without a clear answer from LeBron James saying
when a player like LeBron comes along, you have. At one point in time before the demise of Tim Tebow, in some people's eyes, that was the future of the Denver Broncos. He was a late first-round pick. He had just, quote-unquote, led them to the playoffs, even though he lost the last 4 games of the season. Wins a playoff game, and what happens next? Peyton Manning is a free agent, free to sign with anybody. And what do? Bye. We got the sheriff coming to town. So you're always expendable in the league.
Well, that's
when a
also
player
because
like LeBron comes along, you realize your worth to a franchise.
But in that aspect, Peyton Manning's worth had just become, from here to you're mediocre now. You just came out with back surgery. We're not
like the rest of us.
We're not going after. We're going after Andrew Luck. You don't even have a starting position at the Colts.
Yeah.
So therefore, he was actually going around practicing with teams to even see if teams would accept him. And the Patriots the Broncos were like, oh yeah, we can't rely on Tebow's God-given hand and just throwing up lobs. Let's go with somebody who has
his hip.
Right, and so completely different. Other than LeBron can just stand in the middle of the dance floor and have just teams.
In the room,
he's like, he's the honey, and all the teams are the bees, and just attracting and just buzzing. And he's like, what's gonna happen? Who's gonna give LeBron the biggest contract? Wizards, y'all should try and give LeBron the biggest contract.
I don't know if it's about who's gonna give him the biggest contract, who gives him the best chance to win. Because where LeBron is at now with the Heat, if he didn't think the Heat were the best chance to win,
right? I
mean, he would be there.
Yeah,
like he would be staying in Miami. He would have opted, and maybe he still would have opted out to get even more money in a new contract.
Right.
There wouldn't be this question of where LeBron is going again 4 years after the decision.
If that was the case, why wouldn't he look into Chicago Bulls? I mean, I know the Chicago Bulls to me is a team that if they had LeBron James, they can take it to the ship, and they could potentially give the Spurs, who I think is going to repeat or run for their money, if not even beat them, because they have such an aggressive team. And we've seen in the last 3 years, I mean, before that was the Pacers, but this past year and the year before that, that the Chicago Bulls are not a team to be messed around with. Even without their star player Derrick Rose and just having a lot of changes in the front, point guard and the shooting guards, they're still able to make it to the playoffs given the injuries that they have.
Have you thought of maybe there's a reason why nobody wants to go there? This is LeBron's second time just forgetting about Chicago.
I mean, does Melo even potentially go after him?
Melo didn't. I don't think so. Melo didn't want to go there.
Right.
Of course, they went after them. They made moves to try and get people. They made moves to try and get Melo.
Right.
None of those guys entertained that idea. So maybe there's a thought going around the league, or maybe there's some things that we just don't know, that there's something wrong with Chicago where players do not want to go there. Maybe it's Derrick Rose is not going to be Derrick Rose ever again. So players are just like, you know what? Chicago's not going to work. Chicago is not a championship team. Chicago is just going to be Chicago.
I want to look at it from a different perspective. It might not even be about basketball. Maybe these guys just have not given Chicago, the Chicago Grill Uno, a chance. I mean, these people have the best deep dish pizza you have ever eaten in your life.
You know what? You were salivating.
I was salivating. I was thinking about some pepperoni jalapeno on my pie. Elon would have a little bit of a different opinion on his toppings.
Not pepperoni.
Not pepperoni.
Maybe like chicken and jalapeno.
Yeah.
Always
have
great.
A little spice in there.
Yeah,
Yeah. But what about you're not the biggest fan of the spice? What would have been your Chicago?
You would have hit the pineapple?
If we were to go hit him up.
I'm not a pineapple guy. I mean, I love pineapples, but I'm not a pineapple guy. I would probably go for buffalo chicken.
Buffalo chicken.
Like, I'm not a spice guy, but
you like a little
kick,
kick to it.
A little kick.
That's a great choice.
That is a great choice, and I'm not going to go wrong going to Uno, guys.
Not at all.
It's a great place.
Appetizers are on point.
Oh yeah, apps and desserts all day.
Just the atmosphere in
Parks
general.
and Rec reference for any listeners, or my co-hosts are might be a little not hip with
the Parks and Rec.
I missed the Harry Potter reference. I'm not hip.
You are not hip.
You're not hip.
I've been saying it for years. I'm not hip.
The pop culture reference.
Jurgen Klinsmann is more hip than you are.
Obviously, I barely use Facebook.
Yeep hop. Yeep hop anonymous. And more pop culture references.
Right.
I'm sorry. What?
Big Daddy.
Come on.
The delivery food guy.
Yeah.
And Adam Sandler is teaching his kid how to spell, and the delivery guy can't spell either, and he gives him the word hippopotamus.
Mm-hmm.
Heap hop.
Out of all the scenes in Big Daddy, that does not stick out to me.
Me and Ron are obviously the true Sandler fans here.
Yeah.
Well, not to hurt your feelings.
I think Waterboy and Happy Gilmore. We didn't bring those up in the movies either.
Hey, that's a whole other topic.
I know, but
if you'd like to vote for Happy Gilmore or Waterboy, please visit us on cover3.weebly.com. We got some polls on there. Before we take any more time, guys, we got about a half hour left. We got to get into our next division in our rankings, which is the AFC North. This is a division that in the past was known as... What's that, Brandon?
What happened to Willard?
Our friend of the program?
Yeah, Crazy Talk with Willard.
Yeah.
Before we jump in, let's introduce the friend of the show.
We got a friend of the program. You might have seen him on an earlier episode. Ill Will, as he likes to be called. We'll scoot in a stool here.
Oh, he can get his own stool.
Oh,
You are too
I'm a
polite.
generous fellow.
You are.
I mean, if he was a guest, I could understand. But
Yeah,
he's
but-
apparently a friend of the show.
This is a friend of the
Confident
program.
Continent is just giving out chairs.
Hey guys, I want to thank you for giving me the chair.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I was over there.
That's a nice haircut, bro.
Thank you.
That looks
I
good.
really appreciate you guys
Can you take a
noticing.
page out of this guy's book over here?
You know, he's trying to learn from the best. You know, it happens.
Yeah.
Whatever. AFC North. This is a division that you are a fan of because
I
your favorite
am.
team, being the
I
Pittsburgh
am.
Steelers,
I
is
am.
in that division. They are a team that, if you guys want to start off with them, I'm assuming we will with our.
Let's give the guest, you know, a
Yeah,
friend of the show
let
a
him get
warm
his
welcome.
first dibs.
Yeah.
I do want to say I appreciate you guys having me here again. I love being here. Great time. So definitely appreciate that, guys. I definitely want to point out, you probably noticed Brandon looking that direction a little earlier in the show. He was talking to me. Basically, I stated Messi, greatest player in the world, and he's going to change the game. Just watch.
He's changing
Just
it.
watch. He's
Well,
changing
is
it.
there
Messi's
anybody-
going
is
to
there-
change the game?
Messi.
All right, Messi's going to
Promise
change
you
it.
guys.
Is there anybody on the
Messi.
Steelers roster that's going to change it?
That's Matt saying, I don't care.
Vlog about Messi, all right? Because
Yeah.
Okay.
we're past that segment.
And I'll tell you guys who is going to change the team, and it's going to be our quarterback,
Big Ben?
Who?
Big Ben.
Okay.
What's that?
Literally,
It's not a clock, guys. It is a.
Oh, you know, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was
the
the clock
best
and number.
quarterback.
Oh, so that's not a clock?
It is
No,
not.
he is
a
the
tower?
best quarterback in the league. That's what he
It
is.
is. It is.
Woo, look at the time. I think it's time for you to get
Yeah,
off the
AFC
show.
North is over. Bye.
Let me tell you why.
Did he just say the
Even
best quarterback in
even
he's
without
not
a
in the top
team,
five.
he is top
No,
five.
he's not.
Who's better than Big Ben?
Tony Romo.
You leave.
I had to put in that plug, you know.
No. Big Ben is going to change it. I have to give credit where credit's due. The Ravens are going to come back strong. Cincinnati, they have the best receiver in the world in AJ Green, but I don't see Cincinnati being up there. They're just Andy Dalton isn't really that good.
Who brought this guy?
Andy
And
Dalton.
then-
I'll agree with you.
friend.
Andy Dalton's not the best quarterback in the league. He does boast quite the roster around him, but
He does.
You're based off what I'm going to infer from what you said. Do you think the Ravens are taking the AFC North this season?
No. I think they're going to be a lot stronger than last year because you know they had a bad year last year.
Yeah.
I hate the Ravens, but I'm going to be honest with you, they're going to have a better year. And the big guy to look out for is that quarterback on the Browns. What's his name? What's
Johnny Football?
Johnny
Manziel.
You mean
big guy?
the guy to look out for because he's probably going to get suspended before the season starts? So that's why we should look out for him.
No, you guys gonna watch out. He's gonna make a big splash. If they can
In a pool. A big splash in a pool out in Vegas.
If they can put some players around that team, they do have that whole division have some of the best defenses in the league. Even if the Browns, if you think they're a bad team, you just look at their defense statistics.
Oh, yeah.
They're
They're
still
Right,
above
right.
that.
So let's round that back to the Steelers and how they're gonna fare, you know, in your division. I understand that we can do a rundown and some of these
they've
teams.
added some
What we've
pieces.
done is we've added running backs.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
have putting youth in the in our linebackers. We have probably one of the best linebacking cores in the league now in the
Right.
linebackers. Our safety, Troy Polamalu, plus the guy from
Is Troy going to be healthy?
he had a good year last year. He did. He had a very good year, and he actually was able to keep healthy for most of it. If he can keep that way, that defense will be back up to what we expect.
What about, like, how do you think that backfield is going to end up looking when it comes to how they're splitting carries? Because Le'Veon Bell showed some great stuff on film last year. He's a workhorse power back. But then, kind of odd, they brought in LeGarrette Blount, who's a similar mold, a little bit bigger, maybe not as fast or good on his feet. He's more of just a straight-ahead downhill runner. But they're both bringing that power essence to the game.
You're right.
And Dree Archer, who they drafted, is going to be more of that
Speedster.
Darren Sproles
Speedster.
kind of
Yep.
joker where he's playing a little receiver, a little out of the backfield. So how do you think that's going to work with having two power guys?
There's a big difference in between them. The Bell is more agile and someone that you can give the ball to a lot.
In every down.
In
kind of
every down type of guy. You know, LeGarrette Blount, he's just massive. And nowadays in this league, you don't need that many running. You don't need that superstar running back to be good. if you can split up your carries out and just be effective with a quarterback that will make plays for you and will make the right decision with a lot of speedsters receivers around. And let's not forget, Miller's back, and Miller's a big aspect to our offense. And if our offensive line just stays healthy, we're going to have an offense that's just going to be hitting on all sides.
All right, before we move on to another team here in a minute, the passing game in Pittsburgh, do you think we're going to see any lack in production? You said that Ben's going to be the guy to hold the team together. They lost Mike Wallace last season, and then they lost Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, the main guy on that roster now is going to be Antonio Brown, and they got a rookie from last season, Marcus Wheaton.
They got Darius Hayward-Bay.
Yep.
That wasn't serious.
Let me tell you something.
And they got Heath.
We had
as well.
some of the best
Put
players,
Darius Hayward
and we
in.
still let them go. Why? Because we don't expect one receiver, Mike Wallace, example.
Okay.
Probably one of the best players in the league. We let him go. He still did very well. You know, we worked very well with Ward, Plaxico Boros. You know, we lost these guys and we still moved on without them. And that's fine. We have speed, and speed kills in the NFL.
Last question before we move on to the next team. Do the Steelers move away from the 3-4 this season or next? No? They're still running the
Dick
3-4?
LeBeau has put that in our system, and there's no way we're taking
No way
that
they're
out.
changing that.
We are
right.
consistent.
I like to hear
He's
that.
older than time.
He's a
Let's
Hall of
go.
Fame player and coach. A lot of people forget he was a Hall of
played-
Fame.
Yeah,
MVP.
exactly.
Detroit Lions,
Detroit.
a team we touched on our last show. If
That was
you're not
like in
able
the
to hear that, go
60s?
tune into that. Yeah, he's
No,
up
he
there in
was-
age.
He's like 78.
No, I was talking about
Did
when
he
he
played?
played.
When he was
It was-
playing, it
in the
was a long
60s.
time ago.
60s, it was maybe, yeah, probably.
Okay, next team I want to touch on here is the team that's been in the media the most this offseason, I'd say. Very strange for the Cleveland Browns. This is a team that is in obscurity for the past decade since they came back to Cleveland. They have the money man himself, Johnny Manziel. He's been doing certain things with that
Drop
money.
him.
Yeah, he's been taking that money and doing something with it that's not exactly family friendly. People will insinuate what they will. We'll leave it at that. He has not been exactly a role model so far in the NFL. And his star wide receiver, who might not be a star wide receiver anymore, is on the chopping block, if you will. He's someone that Chris Carter has come out and publicly said, release this guy. That's what did best for me in my career. Outside of Josh Gordon, Devon Best was also a trouble guy
Greg
off the
Little.
field.
Right.
Yeah, they cut
have
Greg
Greg
Little.
Little,
Yeah,
that's
they
it.
have Jordan Cameron's their best receiver right now, a tight end who's coming off one great year of his career so far. They signed Ben Tate, a speedster back from
Can't stay
Houston.
healthy, though.
Yeah, he cannot stay healthy. They did draft a running back who's Terrence West, I believe his name is, who's gunning for that starting role. I think we might see somewhat of a committee there. But this team is obviously going to begin and end with how their quarterback plays. It's very topical when every offseason when they get a new quarterback, everyone sees that jersey. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with it.
Yep.
Where it just shows name after name after name going down a Tim Couch jersey of how many quarterbacks they've had. You can find a picture of that on cover3.weebly.com by the end of our show today. It's a pathetic franchise through and through. I hate to say that, Cleveland Brown fan.
It's historically pathetic.
From
From
leaving
post Jim
Baltimore,
Brown.
from leaving Baltimore, they could
Historically pathetic.
They,
That was
they
a long
just,
time
They
ago.
just
Yeah.
gained or cursed along
Yeah.
with them, and they just have not let that
They're-
go.
Do they have? Do they have a curse? Is there?
They do.
No,
They-
I don't-
they-
I don't think
after-
that-
I think it was after they left Baltimore.
Well, I'd say even before that, Bernie Kosar was blowing big games for them and having drives put on them by John
Right.
Elway. So I feel like when the Super Bowl was created, they stopped winning. Basically, they had lots of championships with Otto Graham way back in the turn of the century. But their defense is studly. They got a good defense. Joe Hayden, probably, I would say, a top 3 or 4 cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Kid's a freak. He got a huge contract extension, and they used their first round pick not on the kid Johnny, but on Justin Gilbert,
Yeah.
a very good defensive back who all the words coming out so far is that he will compete to be that guy covering the wideouts out there with Joe Hayden starting in that lineup. They
also picked up another DB, Leon McFadden, in the third round. So
They're
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 going
definitely
young.
stacking up their defense. you know.
Yeah,
Especially that defensive
Barkevius
backfield.
Mingo, a very
Yeah.
undersized pass rusher last year.
Yeah.
People say he might come on. Their defensive line's got some big boys on it. I don't know how they're going to do because every year you look in and you can kind of pinpoint and say, hey, they got some good pieces here. Last season, Josh Gordon was a nice surprise. They obviously
This season's going to be, a little tough for them offensively. I think
Yeah.
defensively they picked up the right pieces. They weren't really struggling defensively last season. If you could see by the games, they were actually keeping up with the powerhouses of of their division. But this year they've only made their defense much better, and given the off the practice field antics of the certain players, is crippling them.
Yeah.
It's crippling. I mean, Josh Gordon would have been, if not was last season, probably one of the best receivers in the league.
top
And,
5
yeah,
in terms
I'll
of
put him top 3.
Yeah.
In terms of his team that was around him,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
quarterback that he had. And the fact that going into this season he would have a somewhat, rumor has it, a better quarterback with a stronger
Yeah,
arm.
well, Brian Hoyer showed
Right.
great flashes last season. He was going into this
Absolutely.
season healthy. He might still be the starter.
Right. And so him to do, it's been in the media countlessly. Like people players off the field antics have gotten them in trouble and suspended for the full season.
Yeah.
I mean, last year we saw 4-game suspensions, 5-game suspensions, but now they're second-time
Yeah.
offenders and they're getting suspended for the whole entire season.
Josh's 3rd or 4th time now, and he was
Yeah.
in trouble at Baylor, which got him
Right.
kicked off the team.
Yep.
And people, like you mentioned, great point you brought up, he was suspended for the first 4 games of
Yeah.
last season.
And he still came
he
back and
set
produced
every single Browns franchise record for receiving.
Yeah.
God knows what he could have done with 25%
Yeah.
more playing time.
Yeah.
It's sickening to think of when someone with that much talent throws it all away.
It just sucks. I mean, the same thing is in the news today. Ternard Jackson for the Redskins
Yeah.
has just been suspended for the year. And there's countless other players who are also getting
Yeah.
suspended for the year. With that talent, is it really meant that
Yeah.
much to you just to, do things that violate your contract in order to make yourself feel better? Or is it going and playing your heart out and actually, not losing that contract or not losing that yearly salary,
Willie?
The Browns, have always had a good defense, even if they're horrible seasons. But the problem I feel with the Browns is they just don't make good decisions
They
on offense.
They don't.
They've let go of great running backs, not great, but very good running backs past 4 or 5 years that have gotten them to good. Peyton Hillis, he
Okay.
did work. Then Trent Richardson, he did work as well.
Yeah, but
they
they all fell apart.
They
as soon
all
as they
fell
left.
apart because they do not have
Hey,
anyone on
yeah.
offense to lead them or to help them out.
But I mean, they went off to other teams to try and get that, offensive lead and things like that. And even
offense.
then,
They
they
have-
They pick up horrible
The problem
players.
is that the Cleveland Browns see that they have a player like Joe Thomas,
Right.
and they think that might be all they need to do on the offensive line. They have other guys on that line too, Mac. But they need to just do more. A word you brought up earlier, Emron, was the other powerhouses of the division. We have a poll right now on cover3.weebly.com. Is the AFC North still the smash mouth division of the NFL? If you guys aren't familiar with what we mean by that, good defenses and running the ball.
Right.
Would you guys agree with that? This is still, or has that title also been given to the number 1 division in the NFL, which is the NFC West?
I think it's been more even now. We have maybe two divisions that are consider that. They're close now just because of how they play.
You're saying the West?
West Side.
Okay. How about you, Emron?
I still think AFC North is
Yeah.
the smash mouth.
I'd agree with you on that. I think they're smash mouth. I look at Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
They got some kind of good receivers out
Yeah.
there, Jacoby and Torrey. They're not throwing the ball as much as they're trying to give it to their running backs.
I mean,
The
Ray Rice
Browns-
has the burners,
yeah.
right?
Ray Rice
Browns-
still. I don't know if Ray. What do you guys think? Ray Rice still got it?
We'll touch on that in a second
Yeah.
after our commercial break. Our commercial break today is going to be brought to you.
You know, speaking of running backs, I'd love to see them sprint.
You stole my plug. I was about to say it.
I was waiting for it. I wanted to give it to him. Speaking of which, I just changed over to Sprint. Unlimited data. Now I can Snapchat. Matter, I'm gonna take a selfie right now on my unlimited data plan from Sprint itself. We could selfie this.
Did we get a video?
cover 3. Nah, I don't have
Yeah,
that
don't
much
put it
data.
in
I don't have
light.
that much data. Let's get a selfie.
And take it.
There we go.
There we go. Brought to you by Sprint and
Hey,
itself.
you should
Give
save
me the-
that.
I'm gonna save it. I'll save it. But you know what?
Send that to Sprint.
They have a lot of specials going on, and
do.
the biggest thing is the fact that you can get unlimited data across all your plans. I mean, plans like Verizon, all them kind of got rid of that. But Sprint, I don't have to worry about going over my data and paying extra fees because Sprint got my back.
Yeah,
There's
So
a
you're
lot.
both on Sprint now.
Oh.
You gotta make the switch.
Man, I don't want to be left out.
Hey, you know what? You can do if you need to get a phone too is go online, place the order. You can pick it up in the store, so you don't have to worry about getting there and not knowing what
man.
you're going to be getting. It's interesting. And you know what's another team we'll never know we're going to get with is the Baltimore Ravens. This is a team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. A team that no one really thought after that season. No one really in their hearts believed the Baltimore Ravens are the best team in the NFL. no one could honestly say that to themselves. A lot of people looked at it as fate, if you have it, being that Ray Lewis was coming to an end of his career. Last time he was going to be playing,
Right.
he announced that. Joe Flacco was given that very big contract after that season. He has yet to really prove that he deserved that. But as more and more quarterbacks are getting money throughout the NFL, maybe it will prove to be somewhat of a cap-friendly number. Ray Rice had his offseason issues. Brandon, were you going to...
I was gonna say it's just becoming the social norm to be throwing out big money for quarterbacks who
Quarterbacks.
don't really produce much.
Nope.
Yeah.
Why are you looking this way?
Let's try to stop all cowboy talk when we're in here.
It's hard.
It's hard
It's
because
funny.
we know there's such a comical franchise. We know. We know.
I
Like,
thought we were talking about the AFC North.
oh, we are.
Let's get back to it.
I'm sorry.
Let's get back to it.
Way to get off the topic.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is
I'm
a
about to
team
delete
that
that selfie.
usually they make pretty good offseason decisions. Ozzie Newsome is probably the best GM in all of football. With great tight end he was back in his day. He was.
No, I was thinking of
Your Cowboys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking
Yeah, I know.
about our
It's,
greatest
that's what
GM.
I do when I think of the Cowboys, too, is I laugh at myself.
What are we talking about?
He had one more low blow in him.
The Ravens, guys, is the team that has gotten very old in the past few years.
Very old, very quick.
And a lot of those pieces are gone now. Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. They still got T-Sizzle.
T-Sizzle.
T-Sizzle in the house.
T-Sizzle.
He's a bad man. They also had another bad man opposite of him, Elvis Dumerville. I don't know if he
The
really didn't make
Dumerville.
headlines as much as he did the year before. I think that might have just been New City after
Getting
the whole
settled in.
the whole fax fiasco went through. He's someone that maybe people really didn't keep as many tabs on as they would have had he been in the mecca of football last season, which was Denver. Everyone had their eyes there.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of this team going into every season. I don't know what to think of them. They have a receiving core that's subpar.
Well,
for any
they have.
team.
They picked
one
up
of
Steve
the
Smith.
fastest.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can replace what Anquan Bolden did for them.
I think
Anquan Bolden's been gone for 3 years now.
But
It's
he
out of-
was the reason
it's
why.
alright.
One of the big factors they got that last Super Bowl.
I'd agree with
Do you
Will.
remember the
Okay.
plays that he gave
Yeah.
Joe Flacco? He gave him the
Right.
ability to throw a ball, even if he's covered by 2-3 men. You have the faith that he's going to jump.
I mean, he was their number one receiver. I
In
give
the
you that.
playoffs.
Yes.
In the
In the
playoffs.
playoffs, he was their go-to guy.
Right.
Regular
The-
season, he was average.
He was average.
The thing about
I
that,
mean,
yeah,
he
but-
stepped up as
I wouldn't say average.
He was.
he was above average, but he
was
was someone
sharing-
that you would be
Right.
terrified during the regular season.
Right.
During the playoff, he just went off.
He
Yeah.
showed
He got
glimpses.
Joe Flacco that contract, basically.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'd say, and that defense was a big part.
That defense
That,
was a huge
that
part.
leadership that Ray
Ray
Lewis,
Ed.
Ed Reed brought that playoff changed that team.
And it kind
It
of
changed that
shows
team.
that the Ravens offered, Flacco this huge contract right after the Super Bowl, and they get rid of Ed Reed, and he goes into retirement.
Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis.
Wow, I'm tripping. I'm thinking of Joe
Joe
Flacco.
Lewis.
Ray Lewis goes into retirement, right?
Come on, put him on.
Ray Lewis goes into retirement. Ed Reed is traded away, and Joe Flacco gets a huge contract. And then where are they next season?
That's what
I mean-
happens. When you give someone a contract, you can't
pedaling
afford
away.
bringing anybody else in there. That's what changes the whole team.
But now this year, with the addition of Steve Smith, now is Joe Flacco the quarterback that they think that he was in the Super Bowl?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't think he's ever going to live up to the hype that he was given right after that Super Bowl because that was ridiculous the way people were talking about Joe Flacco. He's a good quarterback. He's a very good quarterback.
But he's not an elite
He's
quarterback.
not an elite quarterback.
Not like Eli Manning.
He's not a clutch quarterback either.
Like Tony Romo.
like Big Ben.
Yeah.
Like,
All right, but okay. So now, do you think that Tyrod will as being is Tyrod the secondary or no?
Tyrod
Tyrod
is
will stay at
specifically
secondary.
there to be damage control if
Okay.
he goes down. And he's going to probably start the rest of the season. I don't think he's someone that would lead them deep into the playoffs. Maybe he shocks the world if he had to fill those shoes. I don't see that realistically happening. But as we talked about Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, this team needs to find a leader.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco's probably been given that role based purely off just
position.
Him being the quarterback.
He has to.
Right.
He's the highest paid guy on the team, but there's other guys on the team that are most definitely arguably better, like a Haloti Nada,
Yeah.
or like a Ray Rice. I mean,
Haloti
Ray Rice
Ngata.
maybe not anymore in his career.
Chris
but-
Canty.
Yeah, Chris Canty they signed, but it's a team with a lot of change recently. I like Haloti. I don't know if that's going to be enough for them to get it done on defense. They have Ladarius Webb still in the secondary.
I like the pickup of Owen Daniels.
Yeah, Owen
I
Daniels.
like
Why? I want to hear that.
him and Dennis Pitta.
Yeah.
Dennis
going-
Pitta still got it, but Owen Daniels.
But that's the point. That's the
2
reason
years
why.
removed from
Because
being a
Two tight end set.
look what Bill could do. With,
They were doing that
Yeah.
beforehand.
Right.
Yeah.
But
They
Owen
brought in
Daniels
Dallas.
doesn't have that athleticism anymore that he did when he was.
That's all right. You got a 2 tight end set. That's
I
still.
wouldn't be
It's
scared of that.
Owen Daniels is still.
Hold on.
is
I don't
still
see
the
Give
Owen
me a
best.
second.
Daniels as
Go ahead.
anything
Here's the
as
thing.
all right. I'm calling BG's corner.
Okay.
All right. I'm
Let me
calling
hear
it
this.
now.
Let me hear this.
Now I don't know if you're familiar with this, but BG's corner, you can't cut in. All right.
Unless
So let me-
you're Aziz's arena.
So I'm gonna tell you how it is. When you have a tight end set, and granted, Owen Daniels might be a little bit older, and he's not the same player that he was, but it's still a threat. You're still drawing linebackers off. Whenever you have 2 tight ends coming out and you're playing linebacker, you're grabbing 2 linebackers off, and if they're running off in the flats, you're opening up the middle. The middle's gonna be completely open, and you got Steve Smith and Torrey Smith out there. It's gonna create some havoc out there.
And if you want to run that many wide receivers, you can put Jacoby out there as well.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you take out that tight end set? Because unfortunately, where all this tight end sets coming in popularity is what Bill Belichick was able to do with 2
Yeah.
tight ends.
They
As
were-
athletic as Aaron Hernandez was and Bob Gronkowski. Neither of those 2 guys are either similar to that. So if the linebackers are being spread out by both of those guys, come on. Owen Daniels can be easily covered by any safety or linebacker if you want to put a linebacker. That's
Baltimore was already running that.
okay, but
Baltimore, it's not like New England popularized that. They've been running 2 tight end sets forever since the history
You know
of
what?
that.
This kind of
And
seems like the perfect time for Booz Allen Hamilton to come in and give their consulting advice to the Baltimore Ravens. You know, as our sponsor, Booz Allen can do a lot for the government. Who goes to show that they can do the same exact thing for the Ravens and their 2 tight end conflict? Apparently, really believes that Owen Daniels is not ready for it. You say otherwise. Booz Allen can really make that decision happen, right? I mean, us them being a sponsor to this show and AC Extreme Sports in general. Thank you for all the generous funds to keep us going. And I think Ravens need your help next. So
Yeah, Ravens. Closing point on the Ravens. You guys are also forgetting Dennis Pitta had an injury a few years ago. They really didn't have
Exactly.
anybody else at that tight end position. They have to. Owen Daniels is on the back end of his career. He's not going to be that huge playmaker that he was opposite of Andre Johnson in Houston. I think they need to have some backup. Dallas Clark didn't work out last season.
right,
So-
but if you put Owen Daniels in, let's say like an empty backfield option and put
Yeah.
a 2 tight end in, I have enough comfortability to don't know that I can throw the ball to Owen Daniels if he's wide open for him to make
he
a
was
play.
similar
Yeah.
to
Well,
Dallas Clark to
yeah.
me, and Dallas Clark didn't do nothing last year.
before we
but
before we
Dallas
run out of
Clark was
time
on the
here,
end of his
guys,
career also.
Same as
Another
Los
team that
Angeles.
runs 2 tight end sets in the AFC North is the Cincinnati Bengals. They already had a great tight end in Jermaine Gresham. Last year, 2013, they took Tyler Eifert at tight end. He's a guy that's somewhat of that tweener, that Jimmy Graham, that Eric Ebron type of guy that can play in the slot, play outside, go in the backfield, traditional tight end. This is a team that had a breakout star in who was that running? Giovanni Bernard last
yes,
season.
he did.
He made a lot of plays. He kind of was reminiscent of maybe a young Shady or a young Ray.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he looked like.
I could-
He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can pass protect a little bit. They have arguably the second best wide receiver in the NFL in AJ Green.
Yeah.
Second best? I could probably see that. I mean,
I'd
I
put
can easily
AJ two. I'd put
can-
AJ two.
Now, given the fact that Cincinnati Bengals have been, they've shown us a lot of excitement. I think their biggest weakness, and not even a weakness, not such a great weakness, but it's Andy Dalton. I don't think he's, with the talent they have surrounded on the Cincinnati Bengals and the wide receiver core and even the running back core, Andy Dalton has not used that to his potential. I mean, we're constantly looking at Andy Dalton to make a 3rd down conversion play so they don't have to punt it. It's going straight to AJ Green on a long, fly route or maybe a post corner.
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him at all either. But at the same time, he has other weapons, and you can always. I mean,
Yeah.
when I watch the game, when I watch Andy Dalton play, I'm constantly reading where he's going. He's not showing me that he should be an elite quarterback, given the fact he's not an elite quarterback.
I-
He's
yeah, I
just
don't think anybody-
he's just a pawn that's playing the role.
Well, I think he has. I don't want to talk too much trash about Andy because the Bengals, even when Carson Palmer was there, was a team that you could not put right into the playoffs.
Right.
I say the past 3 years with Andy there, they're that team that you look to. They're probably going to win the division. He's brought him, even though they haven't won any games. They've lost a few heartbreakers to the Texans in back-to-back years. But I think they're making strides. I should say. They're drafting very well. People like Tyler Eifert, Giovanni Bernard, Geno Atkins on defense. Kid's a freak. He's probably one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. I know he was just on that ranking that NFL Network did. I don't know where they put him. He should be higher than wherever they put him, though.
Top 30.
Yeah, I think he needs to be higher than wherever they put him. He is amazing. He reminds me of Warren Sapp, a little bit of that undersized D lineman. But once again, this is a team that we have questions going into the year.
Don't forget that it's only Andy Dalton's. He just completed his 3rd season.
Yeah,
right.
He's still got time.
And even the franchise is somewhat drafting people that might be his replacement, someone like A.J. McCarron. I don't think that you're drafting Andy Dalton 2.0. You're drafting someone that doesn't throw a lot of interceptions and is efficient and someone that is somewhat of a game manager, I would say.
We're not really taking the time. They're not taking the time anymore to sit there and let players develop.
Not at all.
Andy Dalton came in at the beginning of his rookie season and started right away. And there's no development time anymore. So it's going to take a little bit longer.
This league has become such a give me production now league that you don't have time to do that. You need players that are going to go out there and do
produce
that.
right.
Well, then the people have to understand that it's not going to happen that way. You can't
Cincinnati
criticize
has is they don't have an extra player for AJ Green to take off some release off.
Hopefully, Mohamed Sanu becomes that guy.
They don't have a playmaker on the secondary who will change that defense. They don't have that. Their offensive line can't stay healthy all the time. They just have problems.
Older too.
And then the last problem is just it goes back to Andy Dalton, and he's just not. I don't see him as an elite quarterback. And those are the problems that they're facing right now.
But it's his 3rd season.
I understand.
It's too early to say. But I don't see Andy Dalton as an elite quarterback.
That wins.
Who are the elite quarterbacks in the NFL?
I don't know if we're gonna have time.
We don't have time for that. We can say that for a little.
Regardless, my point I'm trying to make is, if you name an elite quarterback in the NFL, you're not going to say anybody who has had less than 5 years experience.
And you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, given the rundown that we've had, I think
I'd put Cam in that category.
I don't know if I'll put Cam.
I'm putting Cam in that
I couldn't do
category.
that. I just couldn't do that.
Hey guys, normally you would hear us do our division rankings, but this time we're going to kind of hook you. Come to our website. You're going to be able to see all of our most recent rankings for our divisions. We're about halfway through now. You're going to be able to see our AFC North rankings and who we think is going to win that division after you've heard our roundtable here. Any other closing points you guys maybe want to say before our program comes to a close?
How much? We got 2 minutes, right?
We've got about a minute now.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully, we get this out in time. Phil Jackson, play like an hour or so of GM mode in 2K. Just an hour before midnight. Then figure it out, because in GM mode, I've worked out the scenario many times where I sign LeBron, as he opts out. So just work out something, you got Bargnani, you got Amari. I don't want to see Shump go, but, just work something out, trade him off, and then sign LeBron. It's Melo's dream. It's my dream. So
how about let's not and bring him to the Wizards? But anyways, thanks for watching our show.
You have no
check us
money.
out on acextremesports.com where you'll find all the latest and greatest Cover 3 and the rest of the blogs. Thanks for coming on the show, Willie.
I appreciate
Love having you.
Friend of the program. We'll
Love
catch
you
you guys
guys.
next time. Catch us on Monday for the recap of the last game of the World Cup.
Yeah. Take care.